Want to understand why you feel smothered in relationships and why it's difficult to find the balance between freedom and intimacy? Then definitely watch this video. Hey guys, it's Katya Morozova, dating and relationship coach for men who are ready to attract an amazing woman into their life and have a meaningful connection. I'm also the founder of KatyaMorozova.me. If you're new to my channel and you want reminders of when I drop a video every week showing you how to attract an amazing woman into your life, then definitely hit the subscribe button now. In this video, you'll learn about the avoidant attachment relationship style, and you'll learn why it's difficult for you to find a partner who gives you the space that you need, and how to create a partnership where you have both freedom and intimacy. I've been helping men overcome debilitating underlying emotional patterns in their life for 7 years, and I'm really looking forward to passing on the wisdom and knowledge that I've acquired to you in this video. So let's get started. In my other video on anxious attachment style in a relationship, I talk about the history of attachment theory. So definitely watch that video next if you want to learn more about where attachment theory came from. Let's start by understanding the avoidant attachment style. So the avoidant attachment style develops at early childhood. Typically someone who has the avoidant attachment style in adulthood, what they experienced as a child was a certain amount of neglect. Now, maybe they had their physiological needs met, but they had a lot of emotional neglect, and often their physiological needs were also neglected. This child experienced enough of a prolonged neglect that they started to learn that they couldn't rely on their parent to provide them with what they needed. So they started to learn how to rely on themselves and themselves alone. You will often find that children with this attachment style, they will not make a lot of contact with their parents. They will often want to do things on their own, assert their independence at an early age. They'll start feeding themselves at an early age. And again, this is a response to the neglect of parenting that they received as a baby and as a child. Now, how this develops into adulthood is that this person then begins to have a very large amount of independence. They grow to be independent, they grow to be strong, they grow to be self-sufficient. They also grow up to have this experience that they can't rely on other people, and they grow up to learn, they have this experience of, I need to help myself because no one else will do it for me. In relationships, the avoidant attachment style typically needs a lot of space. They want to have a lot of space and a lot of freedom. Sometimes when they attract an anxious partner, they can feel smothered, they can feel controlled. What happens with the avoidant attachment type whenever they are in relationship with an anxious attachment type is they'll want to move away from the relationship to maintain their freedom, to maintain control of themselves. Whereas the anxious attachment style typically needs to be needy and clingy, the avoidant attachment style will often tout how self-sufficient they are and how they don't need anything. I'd love to hear it from you. Do you identify with the avoidant attachment style? If so, what is one characteristic of the avoidant attachment style that you most identify with? Let me know in the comments below. Step number 1 is learning how to feel your emotions. Often when you are a baby and a child and you are with a neglectful parent, you were raised by a neglectful parent, what happens is that you learn how to shut down your internal experience because on some level you knew that your needs weren't going to be met. So the avoidant attachment style learns how to shut down their internal experience. And so that's why it's often difficult for an avoidant attachment style person to communicate how they feel. When you ask someone with this style, they have a hard time really coming up with a connection to an emotion that they're experiencing. The question to start to teach yourself is, what is it that I'm feeling right now? This is a question that I would highly recommend that you start to connect to in your daily life. This will build this relationship with yourself, with the way that you are feeling, and it will start to give you a language for your internal experience, so that instead of feeling like you constantly have to move away from relationship in order to feel like you're okay, that you can start to build this relationship with your feelings and then eventually start to communicate them to other people. Avoidant attachment styles tend to be deep thinkers, and they actually often will go into thinking type careers. So they have a strong relationship to thinking and a lower relationship to feeling. Well, feeling is the gateway to intimacy. It's difficult to have emotional intimacy with another human being if you don't have a strong relationship to your own feelings. The reason that you want to learn how to feel, the reason that you want to deepen this relationship is that when you learn how to feel, when you connect to your feelings, when you start to rebuild that connection with yourself, you can start to have more intimate relationships in your life. And you can start to communicate your internal experience instead of feeling like it's something that you have to hide, that you have to move away from, or that you only can deal with on your own and by yourself. Step number 2, it goes hand in hand with step number 1. So step number 1 was learning how to feel. Well, once you start to learn how to feel, it becomes easier for you to practice vulnerability. So that is step number 2, is learning how to be vulnerable in your connections. Vulnerability is the key to really being understood in your romantic connection. It is the key to getting your needs met. It is the key to allowing someone into your inner world and allowing someone to help you, to be there for you. When you practice vulnerability, it really deepens that intimacy in a romantic connection. It's difficult to practice vulnerability if you don't have a strong relationship with how you feel, the emotions that you feel, the sensations, the physical sensations that you feel in your body in response to external stimuli and in response to relational stimuli. So if you're used to feeling things on your own, if you're used to processing on your own, once you learn how to feel, practicing vulnerability will be the next step in deepening intimacy in your relationships, because when you practice vulnerability, you actually get to process your internal experience out loud and in a relationship, and it really allows you to deepen connections with other people. And this might feel like it's dangerous, right, or completely uncharted territory for you as an avoidant attachment style. I just want you to know that this is a process, that vulnerability is something that you have access to. If you weren't taught that vulnerability was okay, again, if you were a child and your emotional needs were neglected when you were really young, in a sense, it cut off your vulnerability. So vulnerability didn't feel safe for a really long time. So I do understand that this journey of learning how to feel and practice vulnerability is a process, and it will take time to get good at this. But on the other side of being vulnerable with other people is this experience of being able to be held by another human being, which is something that's so healing for someone with this attachment style, because for a long time you have probably felt like no one can hold you and no one can truly be there for you. Which leads me to step number 3. One of the things that I want to communicate to the avoidant attachment style is that there are people in your life who want to help you, who want to be there for you, and who in a sense won't drop the baby. Step number 3 is learning how to rely on others. There are certain things that you can't learn and can't accomplish on your own. There are certain things that you need people for, especially if you're in a romantic relationship. One of the treats of being in a romantic relationship, the juicy pieces of being in a romantic relationship, is learning how to receive, learning how to allow someone to give to you, and learning how to be held, because there are certain things that you're going to be good at and there's certain things that you're going to have weaknesses in. And the point of being in a romantic partnership is having your partner be there for your weaknesses and support you in those weaknesses. Step number 4 is learning how to communicate your boundaries and learning how to communicate the space that you need. As an avoidant attachment style, you know that you need more space. You know know that you need distance. And a lot of times, you know, this attachment style is especially shamed for being someone who really needs a lot of alone time. There's always people kind of knocking at your door, maybe needing or wanting something from you, or maybe even to just hang out, or they want your attention. Sometimes you just can't give that to them. One of the things that you can do though is take the space that you need, take the time that you need, but if you make a communication to other people about what it is that you need, it will allow your relationships to be a lot smoother. It doesn't necessarily mean, you know, sometimes avoidant attachment styles feel trapped by the fact that they have to communicate that they need space. And I get that, and I get that that can be frustrating, that someone doesn't get that you're needing the space and that you're taking that space for yourself. But if you can learn to communicate your boundaries, if you can learn to communicate the space that you need, it will allow other people into how to relate to you, and it will allow them to basically get a sense for what they can expect from you. That way you're going to be setting a standard in the relationship, and if that person that you're dating is incapable of operating under the standard that you set, well, at least you were transparent with them and communicated what you could or couldn't deliver. Then it's on them to decide whether they can be in a relationship with you or not. If you're ready to start transforming your attachment style from avoidant to secure, if you want to attract a partner who gives you the space that you need while also creating intimacy, then definitely book a session with me. The link to that sign-up sheet will be in the comments below. Did you like this video? If you did, definitely hit the like button. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit subscribe if you want more videos on how you can grow as a secure man and attract the partner that you truly desire. If you want to watch more videos on how to attract a classy woman to you and build a meaningful connection, then watch these videos next. And especially watch the video in these series about the anxious attachment style. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.